this over. Nope, that's not it. God dang it. Thomas, where's the play button?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the live period.
All right, guys, welcome back to the live period. We are here today with our friend Kendrick Perkins. Perk, we appreciate you coming on today, man.
Brandon, Tom, appreciate y'all having me, man. I mean, I've been hearing so much great things about y'all. You know, the connection between Brandon Chappelle and I, that's my brother, but he speaks so highly of everything that y'all got going on. And I applaud y'all for everything that y'all doing, especially for this younger generation.
Shoot, I appreciate it, man. We're going to dive into your story here today, but before we do that, playoffs starting here, the finals starting here. Shoot, playoffs been going on seems like forever, and I gotta ask what I know. I think I know what you're going to say, but who you got? We going Lakers? We going Heat? We got the Lake Show. We got Miami Vice. Like, how fun is this going to be? Who are you taking?
It's going to be very fun. You know, I've been riding with those goons, them goons from Dade County, right?
Yeah.
I've been talking and rolling with them throughout the East. I think they got the best coach in the game, and Eric Spoelstra. I love his story. You know, started off as a film guy, no shortcuts, got it out the mud, and here he is today. You talking about one of the best. I mean, he coached circles around Mike Budenholzer. He coached circles around Brad Stevens. They don't have an actual superstar. They have a couple of young rising stars in Bam and Tyler Hero, and then they have an all-star in Jimmy Butler, but then they have the right pieces that fit their Heat culture, right? Yeah. Like, they all get it out the mud. Great leadership by probably one of the all-time greats, Miami Heat greats, and Udonis Haslem. But, you know, it's hard for me to go against it's hard for me to go against King James and Anthony Davis. I believe that they are the best duo since Kobe and Shaq. We could talk about LeBron accolades, all day. Sure. But when you talk about Anthony Davis, and KG get mad at me about this a lot of times. I say this on TV, but he's something that we've never seen before. He's a generational talent. You look at him watch him on the defensive end. He's able to switch 1 through 5. He's a great rim protector, and then he can handle the rock offensively. Underrated playmaker, and he is a bucket. Right now, I believe he ranks 3rd in the playoffs right now for averaging 30 plus or some stat thing like that. And he's in the company with Michael Jordan and Allen Iverson. Averaging 30 throughout the playoffs to reach the finals. And, you just look at Anthony Davis and he's one of one. And then all of a sudden you look at playoff Rondo, just when everybody think that he's washed up, and all of a sudden he turns it up another gear in the playoffs. And what Rondo does is he adds that second floor general to the Lakers. So not only do you have LeBron James, you got Rondo, and arguably they're the best 2 floor generals in the game today. And when I say floor generals, I'm not meaning just getting assists. I'm meaning things like being able to come up with things on the fly without Coach Vogel having to call a timeout, like recognizing things through stoppage of play, where it's like it's out of bounds, and Rondo go up to Braun and say, "You see how he played it just now? I spin out live on this one." And next thing you know, it's there. Or on the defensive end, it's a floor general where Braun may just break the defensive coverage and go trap, but you got Rondo on the backside directing traffic for everyone else. So I'm looking at this championship experience, man, and Danny Green and the way that Caruso playing and Dwight is playing, and I got to go with the Lakers, man. I think the Lakers are going to win in 6.
All right, Thomas, I'm gonna make a bet here. I'm gonna make a bet with Perk. He doesn't know this bet's coming.
Oh,
so I'm gonna roll with the Heat, and it's nothing against LeBron and AD and how amazing they are, But the
Be
Heat,
careful,
the Heat
B.
got two
Be
secret
careful.
weapons.
Be careful.
The Heat got two secret weapons. They got two JUCO players,
Ooh.
Jimmy Butler and Jay Crowder. And those
Mm.
JUCO dogs, when it gets time to go toe to toe, JUCO guys know what's up. So I'll make that bet with Perk. I heard him talking about ribeyes the other day on First Take. So Lakers win, I will come to Houston and I'm taking you out for ribeye. But the Heat win, I'm coming to Houston. You're taking me to dinner. So
All right, cool. I know the restaurant to go to. We'll go to State 48.
I like it.
Hey,
I like it.
Hey, Perk, real quick. Spoelstra, to me, he has to be the best coach in the game. You go from, because you always get the Phil Jacksons where, hey, all he's coached is talent. You get these guys, all they coach is talent, which is hard to do. But then you got he's coached the spectrum of everything, and everything I've heard about him, I've seen him a few times, and I've been at the summer league. The way he carries himself, all the stories, like he has to be the best coach in the game, right?
He is. And guess what? He's humble. He's down to earth. Like when you have a conversation with him, you look at him and you think, if you stereotyping him from the outside looking in, you like, you know, he's a computer nerd. No, he's not. Eric Spoelstra got that swag to him. Like,
Yeah.
he got that goon mentality. Like, you know, he carries himself like that. I was just watching his adjustments in the playoffs, right? The way that he did to the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis, load up, recovered out to the three-point line. He's not afraid to mix it up. He's not afraid to bench guys. He goes whatever guy that is rolling. And then you watch that zone that he threw against the Boston Celtics. I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know if it was a 2-1-2 to a trap in the corner. Like, I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. And every single game, he made adjustments. Think about it. Kendrick Nunn was starting majority of the season.
Yeah.
He was in conversation for Rookie of the Year.
What do you average, 16 a game or something?
Yes,
Like,
to Eric Spoelstra benching him and rolling with Andre Iguodala, rolling with even threw Solomon Hill in there for a couple of plays, but he basically shortened his rotation. And I'm watching Eric Spoelstra and those in-game adjustments. And when you give him time, when he come back, you're like, hold on, what is he coming up with now? But the way that he's able to utilize Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson was at home last year, wasn't he?
It was a year. Well, he was trying to get internships. I know.
yeah. I mean, he didn't start for Michigan.
Right.
His senior year.
So you got Duncan Robinson, and you got all these guys, Jay Crowder. And I told people that Jay Crowder is an unsung hero in that Iguodala trade. They stole him, basically, in my opinion. And he's putting these guys in position to be successful. Yeah. All the back pick action to dribble handoffs. You know, Boston could not stop when a dribble handoff with Goran Dragic or Tyler Hero and bam, either the layup was wide open or the lob was wide open. So you're right, man. Eric Spoelstra.
And we're talking about him doing that against Brad Stevens. Like that's not some bum coach.
You talking about Mike Budenholzer, coach of the year, and then Brad Stevens against a talented Celtic rock. So Tom, you are absolutely right. In today's game, right now in 2020, he's the best coach in the league.
All y'all guys that don't want to be video coordinators, just remember that's where Spoels got to start. So
yes.
All right, well, we're going to dive into it here because we want to hear about what makes Perk. Those of you that listen to this podcast regularly, when we have guests come on and have a unique story, have a background, have an inspirational message to share, honestly, with whatever walk of life you're in, whether you're a player, whether you have nothing to do with basketball and you're just a fan of the game and you're a fan of the show, there's something to be gleaned, I think, from the stories that people come on here and tell. So we're going to jump right into it here. Perk, I mean, you take it away and kind of guide us through this story of yours, and wherever you feel best place to jump off is.
Well, you know what? I'm going to start off with me as a player, right? I was able to have a 14-year career by being a star in my role. And I didn't care what the outside world thought of me. And I owe that to Doc Rivers, right? Because Doc Rivers, not only did he make it okay for make me feel okay to be who I was, and that was a screen setter, a guy that anchored the defense, a guy that protected the basket, a guy that just rolled to the basket to finish, and it kept me in the NBA for 14 years. The average years in the NBA is 3.5, 4 years.
Yeah.
I passed that by being a star in my role until when I got to the tail end of my career, when I was just a locker room guy. You know, I see those memes that come out like, man, Perk averaged 1,500 claps a game. And guess what? If a team called me up today, I go average 2,500 claps. You see what I'm saying? And
For sure.
that's what happens to a lot of. I watched a lot of rookies that come out of college, and we all came out of a certain situation when you make it, especially when you make it to the NBA. Well, yeah, you were the man. Like, I was the man in high school. But when you get to the league, if you're not that guy, if you're not that number one pick or even the top 5 pick, you're really not the franchise player. And if you're going to a team where they already got a franchise player, you just got to find something that you're really good at and buy into the system, right? So I look at guys and I always tell the younger guys that, man, this is not NBA 2K. Like, and there's no disrespect to Carmelo, but you look at a guy like Jared Dudley, who you know, first day of free agency, always had a place to sign. Why? He's the ultimate professional. He knows his role. Ultimate team locker room guy. If he don't play 10 games, he's ready to come in because he's not on the bench pouting. He's always uplifting, right? And then you look at a guy like Melo, who had to not get phone calls for about 1.5 2 years to humble himself to say, hey, I got to take a lesser role. I'm not that number one option no more. And I think a lot of people have, you know, social media ruins a lot of the young guys in today's game. Not only social media, but a lot of, you know, parents and girlfriends and wives and homeboys, because they're going home and they're telling them everything that they want to hear instead of telling them what they need to hear, right? So that's why it's so important to surround yourself with people that's going to tell you the truth, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to be a star in your role. And, you know, I be on TV now. I'm a TV analyst. Never thought that I would be here. My job, my goal was that I wanted to get on TV last year to let my voice be heard by the other teams that I didn't play for in my career, because I wanted to be the next head coach that was a big man that played in today's game.
Yeah.
I feel like us bigs, we get disrespected. I feel like for us getting head coaching jobs, because point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards are not the only people that know the game of basketball or could lead a program or an NBA team and coach them, right? So that was my goal. I was like, you know what? Let me get out here. I just want to get my foot in the door. And I actually had some coaching offers. But I started liking the media. I started loving it because I'm going to watch basketball anyway. Yeah. I'm going to watch it anyway. And now I just get to go talk about it on TV.
Well, you get to be you.
I'm being myself.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a country boy from Beaumont, Texas. It's on the borderline of Louisiana. I'm not here. This is what you get. You may hear Perk stumble. You may hear Perk say, I may have broken English at times, but I'm not in the encyclopedia and I'm not in the dictionary. I'm being authentic. We're talking basketball. 100%. We're talking basketball. I'm not here to try to teach you how to speak English or English class or put your, bless you with a vocabulary or something like that. No, we're talking hoops. So I be myself. I'm myself when I go on TV. And I think that's why a lot of people gravitate to it, because I'm not trying to be something that I'm not.
100%.
And being on television, Go ahead.
If I could say real quick, the star in your own role is so huge. And we've talked a lot about this on this podcast. You guys, there's so many kids, and you said social media, parents, family. It's the problem because I train kids all the time, and it's like you need to learn how to rebound. You need to learn how to play defense and see ball you man. You need to know how to box out. Nobody gets taught that stuff, or very little, but it's because you're not shooting. I'm like, guys, I made two seasons. I averaged over 10 rebounds a game, and all it was heart and mind. And I knew if I did that, I'd get another job. I didn't care about scoring. I got rebounds, and I eventually would score. And it's just become a lost thing, I think, with this the social media and all the mixtape stuff that kids just want to score. And it's like, dude, you know you could get a scholarship by being a really good defender, rebounding, and being a good teammate. But that's not the sexy thing, you know.
And that's what, like, Perk, you being your role and knowing who you are as a player and embracing that. I mean, that's what makes you so good at what you do now. And honestly, you said people gravitate to you. It's because of that. Because think about how much in the media, and especially when you're on the spot and people are asking questions, you're talking hoops and things like that. Like it's so much disingenuous stuff out there.
Right.
And as well as anybody that being honest sometimes is, what gets people ticked off about things, but you just got to keep doing it because otherwise, why are you doing it?
Right.
It's like
both of y'all have really great points, and it's so sad, man, because I have two boys. I have 4 kids, but my 2 oldest both play both sports. All right. So I have an 8-year-old. He's not, he's not your normal 8-year-old, right? He's big, but he plays.
I saw a video of him the other day just smoking somebody in the gym.
Right. He's got the swag about it, right? But I have a 12-year-old that a 13-year-old now that I'm telling him, look, you can shoot the ball, you're a great rebounder, and it's okay. And now his handles is picking up just enough where he's able to drive and kick or push it up, pitch ahead. And I'm saying, like, you don't have to be that guy. Just be that good role player. Like, be that guy that's going to knock down corner threes. Be that guy that's going to rebound. Be that guy that's going to dive on the floor for loose balls. Like, I never get on my children about how many points they scored, what's their stats. The only thing I always question is if you don't go out there and compete, then we have a problem. And both of them play football. So one of them, he started from playing flag to now he's playing tackle, okay? Playing flag, he was playing running back. Okay, tackle, you're so big. You're 5'2", at 8 years old, 128 pounds, right? So he plays tight end. He plays defensive tackle, okay? He was like, Dad, no, you're going to do this role. And then all of a sudden, now he knows because his team is ranked like number 6 in the state in the AAU bracket for the football thing, right? And I'm just getting them I install in them like, you don't have to be the man to have success and to go where you trying to get to. Like you set your goals high, realistic goals, and then you're going to tend to reach smaller goals as you try to get to that bigger goal. You see, that makes sense?
For sure.
But it's so bad, man, because everybody get caught up in the YouTube highlights and all that, and the fundamentals are just not being taught. Like how you're doing right now, Thomas, down there. I know you teach it, like you just said, head on the swivel, ball you, man. Like people just don't want to hear that. They want to see the famous crossover so they can get to their Instagram and post it. We didn't have Instagram. That was the best thing for us. Like we had to go on the laptop or the desktop and go Google rankings and stuff to see where we at. We couldn't even find videos of ourselves, we're doing what we do. So it's just crazy, man. But if I had to tell all the people out there that's listening, just be a star in your role, but no shortcuts. Because even with this TV analyst job, right? People think, okay, you watch the game, which I do. I watch it from start to finish. Halftime show, pregame show, especially if I'm not working it. And postgame show. And then I go back on the computer and I do my research on certain things. Who guarded who? What was their percentages? So when I do get on TV and I do say something, I'm not saying anything that's not truthful or not facts. And I think a lot of people don't want to put in the work. And ever since I joined the media and become an analyst, I'm telling you, I have a different appreciation for all the people that's out there that work in the media world. I did not know that it took so much to put in, so much time, so much work to put into even putting out an article or even going on TV the next morning. Man, I hosted First Take 3 times, right?
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith was out, and I had to hold the show down for 2 hours with Max, debating Max. And it wasn't just basketball. We went from college football to NFL basketball to Major League Baseball. So the night before, I'm sitting up here saying, I don't even watch baseball. and I had to get it together because I got to go argue with Max for 15 minutes. And right then, when I finished the show, I called Stephen A. and I said, you know what? I called Stephen A. first, then Max second. I said, I have a different appreciation for you guys and what you do on First Take for 2 hours to debate different topics and switch sports like that. So I just have a different appreciation, but that's my thing is, and I live by this. My grandpa told me this, who was the best man in my wedding. He died, God rest his soul, at 84 years old. But he told me, he said, and it stuck with me, whatever you put into something is what you gonna get out of it.
Yep.
That's just like, it's simple, but it's so true. Whatever you put into it, that's what you're gonna get out of it.
100%.
That's it.
100%. I want to ask you a couple things about your younger years, but before we do that, this is going to be my first time running this because Nick usually runs this for us, and he is not able to make it today. So we do a little bit of what we call player trivia. So there's going to be a few trivia questions here for you.
All right,
now, they're all about you, sort of.
All right.
So it's you and Thomas going toe to toe here. Now Nick usually has some kind of weird game where it's like you answer this and then I don't even know what the hell the rules were. So we're just gonna ask the questions, and this is just gonna be straight up scoring here, and we're gonna let our guest go first here, Thomas. So I think these are hard enough that y'all aren't gonna come up with the same answers, but we'll see. So, all right, first question. After being drafted by the Grizzlies at number 27, Perk was immediately traded to the Celtics for Dante Jones, 20th overall pick, and the player that was drafted 16th that night, Troy Bell.
Mm-hmm.
How many pro teams did Bell play for from the night he was drafted in 2003 to ending his career in 2016? How many professional basketball teams? Perk's up first.
I'm going to go with 8.
All right. Thomas?
I'm going to go with 11.
Thomas is going to be the closest, though both of y'all aren't really that close. He played for 15 teams in his 13-year career. Now, see, Thomas, I thought maybe you might have played against him because he kind of figured out Spain, Italy, France is like dope as shit. And so he didn't leave there until right at the end and went to Argentina.
I played against him in what year was it? I played against him in Italy when I was in the top league, Italy. Yep.
Time out. How is it possible? He played for 13 years, right?
And played for 15 professional teams.
Because he hey Perk, he get those 1-year deals, and then he'd switch teams probably halfway through on a few of them. So that's probably
right. No, I get that. No,
that's insane.
That might be the sickest thing ever, right?
You own one suit and you got a backpack, and that's it.
Wow.
You never buy a chair in 13 years. All right, next question. We're gonna go back. We're gonna start with Thomas this time. So Perk passed on signing with Memphis to enter the NBA draft out of high school. Memphis would go on to be a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament that season and lose in the second round. Who did they lose to?
This would have been 2003.
Yep, it's 2003, 2004 NCAA tournament.
Second round, Memphis. Let's go with Gonzaga.
You got Perk.
2003. Memphis. You know what? I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna just say. You know what? I'm gonna just say Texas.
You know, neither one of you are right. Perk's closer, I guess. Oklahoma State. We got Oklahoma State. Final score 70-53.
Oh, right. Was that Tony Allen and John Lucas III? It was.
I think so. Yeah. I feel like Perk might have had something to say about that final score if he'd have been.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. No. All right. This is a good one. I like this one because I read an article about it and laughed my ass off writing this question.
Perk is first.
Perk is first. All right. Perk's son famously spent $16,000 on Fortnite, buying skins and whatever else that is. What was now in the article I read, Perk said something along the lines of, this business model is ridiculous because it's a free game, but it's not free if you want to whatever. So with their ridiculous business model in 2019, what was Fortnite's gross income?
Who first?
You're first.
I'm gonna say it was right around 2.8 billion.
Thomas?
I don't want to go prices right on this. I'll say 2 billion.
Thomas is closer. $1.8 billion in 2019 gross income.
I don't even play video games, and you know what? Hey, Brandon, you wrong for reminding me about that. Look, you know I got all my money back, right?
I did see that. I did see that.
Dime back because I was like, no, look, these kids are not over 16. There should be a rule in place. There's no way that you should have allowed this to happen. Well, I went off. I want
to know what that phone call sounded like. It's like a training phone call now with the credit card company.
Can I tell y'all what I did to my kids?
No, what did you do?
I didn't punish them or nothing. Guess what? They came home from school, so I actually had went and bought a fake PlayStation, a cheap PlayStation from a pawn shop. It was like $30, and I threw it in the pool. And when they got home, I was like, "Y'all want to play?" Do money on my credit card, so I walked them out to the pool, and you should have seen them. Like they literally fell to their knees and were crying like some damn babies. Man. The shit was unreal. They didn't even know that we had took that PlayStation. It was in the room, right? We took it away for like a month, but they thought it was like at the bottom of the pool. And my wife and I just left it there for like 2 months. So every time they went out, it was just sitting at the bottom of the pool.
Oh my God. Oh, that's fantastic. You're wrong for that. Just little kids' hearts just breaking right there, seeing PlayStation at the bottom of the pool. All right, last question. Thomas is up on you here, but this is a three-parter, so you can make a comeback here, Perk.
Okay.
So
Did Scott win this game when he came on? Brian Scalabrine?
Scal? I feel like Thomas won against Scal. I've lost every time. I've never won.
Yeah, because I always beat Scal. So let me go ahead and get this win. I take this. You know, I'm pretty good at these things. This one's deal with no victory, dog. I can't do it.
This one's tough, but you might have looked this one up at one point. So, Perk drafted out of high school in the 2003 draft. How many players in NBA history had been drafted out of high school before Perk was? How many players have been drafted after Perk was drafted out of high school? And how many of them were drafted by the Celtics?
So this is for me first.
Yep, you're up first.
So how many high school players before Perk? How many high school players after Perk?
Yep, not just in his draft, but in NBA history. How many high schoolers were drafted straight out of high school?
You write these numbers down so we have them.
I got you. I got you. It's all right here.
I'm gonna go with before Perk. 67. After Perk. 15. And then how many did the Celtics actually draft from high school?
In NBA history, how many have they drafted?
2.
Okay. What you got, Perk?
Okay. So before me, I'm gonna go with 25. Okay.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna go with 30. I'm gonna go with 30. 30 players were drafted out of high school before me. After me, I'm gonna say it was right around 21 after me. And the Celtics, I'm going to go with 3 because I only believe it was myself, Al Jefferson, and Gerald Green that were drafted out of high school by the Boston Celtics. So tell me I won this, Brandon, and we can move on. Go ahead and tell me I won it.
Now we're gonna need a rules. We're gonna need a ruling here. So Perk wins the first 2 parts. There were 23 players drafted out of high school before, so you were closer. There were 21 after you, which might be worth a bonus point because he hit that baby right on the head. Now,
I would agree. We said bonus point. We'll say bonus point.
Now the Celtics did not draft Perk.
I just thought about that. I just thought about that dumb shit. I just thought Look, so this got to be a tie. We got to be a tie. And
Thomas, I think we got to give him a tie here because he got 21 on the nose. You said 67, which is more than the entire ever of.
So was it 2? Was it 2 Celtics?
2 Celtics. Al Jefferson, Gerald Green.
So look,
and not Kendrick Perkins.
So let's do it. That was like, what the hell was I thinking just now? So all right, let's do a tiebreaker then. This right here for all the marbles.
Okay, wait, I gotta come up with a question.
You just come up with the question.
All right. We're gonna come up with a question here.
How in the hell did I do it? I'm sitting there like, oh, I got this, and it was me, Al, Gerald Green, my dumb ass. I got you. Like,
all right, so Kyle Korver was also a part of this draft. Kyle Korver still in the league. Kyle Korver still covering his eyes and making every 3 that he shoots. What number overall was he drafted?
Perks first.
Kyle Korver went in the 2nd round, and I'm going to say he was drafted right around, I'm going to just go with my jersey number at the time, 43.
Okay.
I'm going to go with 42.
Kendrick Perkins, you are our winner. 51st overall for Kyle Korver. You are closer. And this right here is where we cue the Champions League music. Nick's going to hit that button for us when he goes into edit.
Championship, baby.
Hey,
showing the ring.
I think he just called that a flex there, Thomas.
Yes,
that's what just happened, as the kids say.
Dang.
That was great.
Well, he just showed us his championship ring with the Celtics, by the way.
Anybody not watching the video and is just listening to the pod, he just kind of threw that big old shiny thing. His finger up on the screen there. You know, I saw one of those.
My wife office anyway.
Uncut gems. Hang on to yours, though, man. All right. All right. So I do want to kind of jump in here real quick before we let you go, because, you know, being drafted out of high school, such a unique thing, especially now with I was kind of talking to Thomas about how going through your draft, there was a lot more college seniors maybe than I expected. I feel like there's maybe less seniors now. There's more guys leaving for the draft early, but now we don't have the being drafted straight out of high school. You were raised by your grandparents, and I know life was not easy for you growing up. And coming from the background that you had, kind of what did that mental decision look like for you to say, you know what, I'm gonna go do this now? Because at the time, when we're talking about rankings and all this other stuff, you were the 6th overall player ranked in the country. You were the 3rd overall center. How did you make that decision and just kind of say, I got to go grab this?
Well, and that was so disrespectful for me to be ranked number 3 overall, like as the center.
Do you remember who 1 and 2 were?
I think it was James Lang and somebody else, right? It was James Lang. I was so disturbed by that. Like, what? Nobody won more than me. Nobody was putting up numbers. Like, I broke all Shaq records, but I'm not about to dive into that. but seriously, man, you know what? So growing up, I grew up in a house that my grandfather built, right? It was a 2-bedroom house. Ceilings was about 6 foot high. We had chickens, ducks, we had cows, we had everything. It was basically a farm. My grandmother was a maid. She made $60 a week. My grandfather made $300 a month cleaning the church. My mom was shot and killed by her best friend when I was 5. So we survived off of that and what I got from Social Security, which was about $500 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
My dad moved overseas to New Zealand, played pro ball over there. Wasn't really in my life. So we struggled. I was always tall. I played football first, and I started getting good. And my high school coach took me under his wing, along with Brandon Chappelle. That was my day one. I used to live at his house, and what happened was that, fast forward, I started playing AAU for the Houston Hoops, and my name started getting out there. And back then, we didn't have social media. So we would have to, like I say, run to the computer and Google and see where you ranked and go look at mock draft. And I started seeing my name pop up as I was getting to my sophomore year. I went down to the ABCD camp and I tore it up. I actually walked out of there as the best player, with LeBron James being there, with Lenny Cook being there, all these guys, Sebastian Telfair, Dwight Howard. I walked out of there as the number 1 player in the camp. That was my sophomore year. And that's when it took off. And, I started noticing at my games where not only was it college scouts there, but I seen Sam Preston sitting in Beaumont, Texas, in my high school gym watching me play, B.J. Armstrong. So I'm like, wow, it's really not out of arm's reach. So what I did was Calipari and Rock, I always forget how to pronounce Rock's last name. He's the head coach was the head coach at Lamar. He was the assistant to Cal in Memphis. Rock's, it's Rock, all right? Rock, my guy. So they recruited me to Memphis. I signed with Memphis before the season. I signed with John Calipari. The reason I did was because Cal was like, you know what? I don't want you here for 2 years. I don't want you here for 3 years. I don't want you here for 4 years. I want you here for 1 year.
Yep. And
they have you going late first round or maybe even second. You come with me, I'm going to have you going lottery, right? And in my mind, I'm like, it's a financial situation. And so at that time, you could test the waters by, not hiring an agent. Mm-hmm. So I just went out there and I only did 4 workouts. I worked out for all the Texas teams and I worked out for Boston. All the Texas teams had the 28th, 29th, and 30th pick, right? Mm-hmm. In the first round. The Celtics had the 20th pick. So I fly to Boston. I killed Brian Cook in a workout. Brian Cook was the National Player of the Year, I think, that year, right?
From Illinois, yeah.
Yeah, I killed him in a workout. Danny Ainge tell me to stay over, stay an extra day. They take me to dinner, and I get the guarantee, right? I get the guarantee at the 20th pick. The only reason that it had to go the way it did was them swapping with Memphis because the GM that was with Boston at the time was Chris Wallace. He had moved to Memphis, took over Memphis, and Danny Ainge wanted Marcus Banks. So I think Marcus Banks went number 13. Danny had the 16th and 20th pick. And what he did was he knew the Supersonics had the 14th pick at the time, and they was gonna get him. He wanted Marcus Banks that bad. Danny Ainge did. So they just swapped picks. But what ended up happening was that the motivation that drove me was that I not only the love for the game, but I had to get my grandparents out of this situation. Like that was my goal. So I didn't get a chance to go to my senior skip day. I didn't get a chance to do senior activities. I did my prom, but I didn't get a chance to hang out. My high school coach had me at the gym every morning, even in the off season at 5 in the morning. I had to run miles. I had to weight train. I had to do all those things before school. I couldn't do a lot of things with my friends, and he made me sacrifice. I missed a lot of my, like your senior year, hell, that's the best shit. Like,
Yeah.
you the top dogs, everything is going down, it's popping, you kind of could go party here and party there, you might have your first girlfriend, I don't know, some people are late bloomers. I had mine in 10th grade, all right, still my wife today, all right? So my thing was, I was like, man, I got to get my grandparents out of this financial situation. When my mama died, I was up for adoption. So they took me in and raised me. Well, they made a way for me. We didn't have much at all. So I could cook, I could kill, clean, and have a chicken ready for you to cook in 15 minutes. No lie. Right now. Like you put me in the yard for the chickens, I go catch it, wring his neck, smother it in a bucket, put it in the hot water, defeld it, cut it open, cut it in the sections here. Here go your legs, leg quarters. Matter of fact, here goes some chicken gills. Have it your way, right?
Cooking with Perk. I think that's something that needs to happen at some point.
So it was like I had to get them out of that situation. And when I got the guarantee, man, I was like, I gotta go. And the first thing that I did was with my NBA check. First NBA check I got, I went and put a down payment on my grandparents, a $300,000 house. And my next payment I went and got my grandfather a Dodge Ram truck, and I went and got my grandmother a car. She wanted a Chrysler 300, and I went and got her that. Before I bought myself anything, I took care of them because that was my drive. That was what fueled me. Was like, nah, it's right here. I gotta go get it, and I was not gonna be denied.
That's awesome.
I love that. That what you've experienced some amazing things in your life, being drafted, winning an NBA championship, and all that. But I can hear in your voice that I'll bet one of the best feelings you ever had was putting that down payment on that house.
Oh man, it was the best. The best thing was my grandfather was like, he never showed emotion. And that was my first time ever in life. Now, my grandfather was an usher for our church. And he went to every funeral every Saturday. He was the head usher. I never saw my grandpa cry. I watched his mama die. I watched his sister die before him. I never seen him shed a tear. That was the first time I seen my grandfather cry ever in life. He was a military guy, right? Fought in Vietnam War and all this. So he had a heart of gold, but it was just the man in him. And when that happened, it was just like, wow. Second time is when he got his truck. It was just like,
That's amazing.
And it wasn't like I went put rims or 15-inch speakers in the back. It was like a Dodge Ram. Here you go. And he was just like, and when I tell you he cleaned this truck every day, he cleaned it every day. Not took it to a car wash. He did it personally.
That's
so
fantastic.
awesome.
Hey, Perk, we appreciate you coming on. You got something, Thomas, before we go?
Perk, if you have one quick minute or two, I usually like to ask this. We asked this to Penny Hardaway and some of these guys. Best player you ever played against, and it could be for whatever reason, and best teammate you ever had.
So here it is. I give you my best teammates, okay? And it goes in this order. Kevin Garnett, Nick Collison, and it's hard for me to not even put them as a tie. Nick Collison was one of my favorite teammates of all time, and LeBron James, all right? And then the hardest player that I had to personally go against. People sleep on how talented this big MFer was, man. They just don't get it. Yao Ming.
Oh, man. What was that like?
So, I took pride, right? Like, I never made an all-defensive team. I felt like I got snubbed a few years in a row, right? And I took pride on my post defense. Like, and I locked up the best of them, from Dwight to Paul Gasol to Andrew Bynum to whoever. But getting to Yao Ming at 7'6", that wasn't a problem. It was that he had skills. I'm talking about, like, he could put the ball on the floor. He had a face-up jab, 15-footer, quick spin baseline dunk it. And he was skinny, like kind of up top, but his legs were like tree trunks. But he was heavy, so he wasn't moving, and he was physical. So when he drop step, he knew to keep the elbows up. So he's 7'6", so you almost dodging it. And he was just
at 6'10".
Right. He was a tough cover, and the way that our defense used to be, especially with the Celtics, was that Doc used to be like, "Hurt, you got whoever head up," and I'm like, I got it. But with Yao Ming, I was like, Doc, come on now, at least give me a dig, an elbow stunt or something. I like, give me something down here, because this dude was a problem. I hate that his career ended so quickly, but
He would have been one of the greatest of all time if he hadn't foot
yeah,
injuries.
for sure. And he definitely, I'm so happy that he's in the Hall of Fame, because Yao Ming was a problem. So that was my toughest cover. He was a damn problem.
At 7'6", that's like me trying to guard you. And that's not going to go well for me.
No, but B, I didn't have the skills, man. We talk, like, I was more, I'm a tomato chest, you shoot a jump hook, I'm a turn and drop step and dunk on you. Nah, he turning around, fadeaways over each shoulder, jump hook, nice touch, 15-footer. If you go for it, pump fake, put it on the ground. I'm like, it's like he was something different, man. He was something different.
Change the game, honestly. Like, you can kind of go back and point to Yao Ming even more so than an Akeem Olajuwon or somebody like that in regards to expanding the NBA to the world. Because, I go to Africa, I go to the Caribbean, I run camps all over the world and stuff. And, like, Yao Ming had a greater impact on being able to do that than anybody else. Like, even a Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan was like a mythological creature, in his time to the rest of the world. But
let me ask you a question. And there's no right or wrong answer, because, some people like to drink Dr. Pepper. Some people like to drink Sprite, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, B and T, both of y'all tell me, who's y'all greatest of all time?
Oh, man.
Oh, God.
It ain't no, oh, man, look, we're not going to even debate. I just want to know. I just want to know. You don't even have to give me an explanation. No, I want a quick explanation.
I'm gonna give you an answer. For me, it's Michael Jordan. Now I'm even 2 years older than you. So
Okay.
so grew up, with MJ and defining that. But I look at LeBron, if we're talking about skill and all that sort of stuff, like that starts getting real razor, right? Like real razor's edge.
Right.
But the impact on the game, that just kind of cranks it up for me. And why we have the NBA that we have today is because of Michael Jordan. So for me,
And I get your point, because I always say that before MJ came, it was more like the circus. Oh, you could go there, pet the animals. But when MJ came around, it was more like Disney World. So I can see your point.
For me,
Big T.
I tell this to people all the time. The most unstoppable shot of all time is Kareem in the sky hook. That's the most unstoppable shot, in my opinion. You can't get over that sky hook. Who's stopping that? Nobody was. Jordan, to me, because I'm the same age as you, Perk, a year older. That's what we grew up on, was Jordan. The thing with LeBron, for me, he's a phenomenal player, top 5, top 3, whatever of all time. If they would have packaged him differently coming out of high school, I think he'd have way more fans and more love around the country, because I always thought he was magic. Because I was, like I said, I went to ABCD camp a few years before, like 2 years before you. Everything I knew about LeBron, he'd rather get 15 assists and be for his boys, where Jordan would come down and cut your throat. So if you would have packaged LeBron differently, I think the talk would be different now. So I'm a Jordan guy. I respect LeBron. I love his game, but I have to pick Jordan because I think he's more of a magic.
No, and I agree. But I use this analogy. All right, to me, they're all killers, but it's different type of killers. All right.
Yep.
And you use the shark analogy. Kobe, MJ, they're great whites. But LeBron, he's the tiger shark.
I like it. My guy, I appreciate you so much coming on today. This has been fun, and I'm looking forward to when the world finds its ass with 2 hands again, and we can get out and about. We'll see what happens with this series. Now I got ribeyes on the line here, and anybody that follows our Twitter knows how much I love my steaks.
Oh man, that was a bar. I wish I could have used that on TV. That was funny. Nah,
thank you, man.
Thank you, man, for having me, man. And seriously, I'm serious about everything for us. Just let's connect.
Yeah, we'll absolutely connect. We like I said, we can help do whatever you want to do, and we've done it. And somehow we've cracked the code on doing camps from inner city Chicago to Dar es Salaam, Tanzania to Minna, Nigeria. We've been everywhere, so we'll figure it out.
Look. First of all, before we end the show, I want to say I appreciate you guys. Y'all keep up good work. But the only reason I have on the damn blazer, because I had my hoodie and shit ready. The only reason was because I was shooting a photo shoot with Sports Illustrated. So I said, you know what? I'm feeling kind of swaggy today. I looked at myself. I kind of reminded myself of a heavyweight Maurice Chestnut. So I was like, you know what? Let me keep back on all day, though. All right.
On point, my guy.
All right.
You're good.
Great job, man.
Thanks, Perk.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
All right.